right, all right. It's really a treat for me to be here. My partner on my radio show, Kevin McCullough, and I, we do a program every Saturday night that we like to try to address the issues that culturally challenge our young people. That is the subject we try to deal with every week. The cultural challenges of the young people across the country. And I'm really only here to try to talk to anybody else here who has a perspective that hopefully is just plain simple and makes a lot of common sense. Does anybody here have that kind of perspective? Because I once worked in a company in Hollywood with a partner, and raising money for startup companies, and even now in the movie business, raising money for movies is harder now than it's ever been. And a friend of mine has a new company, and it's a startup company, and he turned to me a few months ago and he said, you know, Stephen, remember one important thing in life when it comes to business and money. He said, usually it's going to get worse before it gets better. And I just think it's very interesting that this current administration has really made a whole lot of promises. Before this current administration got into office, it never said anything about what it was going to inherit. It never said it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. What it said was, with them and with us together, yes, we can. That's what they said. But you know, they said something in the last 48 hours, and they said, in regard to the potential for now taxing anybody who makes less than $250,000, which they said they'd never do. They said, you have our promise that that will never happen. Well, I want to make an interesting observation. In the last 48 hours, what they said was that, well, you know, it's gotten a lot worse, and hopefully it's going to get better. And now when it comes to the idea of potentially taxing those people that make less than $250,000, even though we promised we wouldn't, they said, now we'll see. We know we said we weren't gonna, but now it's just, you know, it's so terrible, we'll see. And here's the thing, I'm a father of two lovely young daughters, and my 12-year-old daughter, she's a pretty smart cookie. She takes after her mother. But she's a smart kid, and she's tenacious, and she'll want something, and she'll just keep on asking, and she'll just find a way to keep on asking and just try to get her way. And that's a good quality. To be tenacious is a good thing. But you know, the one answer that I repeatedly have to say to my daughter, because she's so smart, I just got to try to give myself a little bit of space to try to come up with a way to figure out how to say no, or how to not do that thing she wants me to do, because you can't give them everything or you spoil them. But the phrase that I use whenever I think I'm going to have to do something I don't want to do when it comes to raising my kids in order to do what's good for them, is I'll say to them, we'll see. So I just think it's amazing that we have a government right now, and I want to just, Kevin McCullough made a statement to me before I got up to her. He goes, now just, you know, you're kind of crazy, Stephen. You can be a little freaky and radical, just like, don't go bananas up there now. So just keep it cool. I know, Kev, they're telling me go bananas. But here's my point. Here's my point. And here's the truth. The truth is, it isn't just this administration that is the reason we're in the situation financially that the entire government that we're in. It's not just this administration. The government is broken, and the biggest problem with the government today is that the timing sucks. We have an administration that's going to absolutely make it worse before it gets any better. There's no question about that. Common sense will tell you that. And they're going to turn around and they're going to say things like, well, we inherited this mess and blah, 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 blah. The truth is, if you let the greatest nation in the world continue to function in a way that it always has, which is allowing the people of the country to decide for itself what is best for their future. And let me tell you something, this administration is not about allowing the people of this country to decide for themselves. That is clear. That is absolutely clear. And it's really sad. It's a sad day for America. It really is. But here's the solution. If you can really understand where I'm coming from right now, the solution, it's kind of ironic because the solution is, yes, we can. The solution really is, yes, we can. We the people, brother, yes, we can. But I'm going to tell you something right now. This current administration is not an honest one. It is not an honest administration. And there are so many people that voted this administration in that will probably absolutely stand out there today and admit they were wrong about the decision they made. And what people have quickly come to understand is that when the government makes decisions that they're going to take your money and spend it in ways that you don't agree with, that's a problem. That's a big problem. But more importantly, and here's the one that's debatable, guys. Here's the difference between certain political points of view from one end of the spectrum to the other. The truth is, if you're gonna get taxed more and more and more, businesses and business growth in the United States is gonna suffer more and more and more. That is just a simple historical fact. But here's the problem. The bigger problem than the government is the lazy, fat, slob Americans that sit around and let it happen. That's the problem. And listen, I don't mean fat in their bodies. I mean fat in their brains. This country has been blessed for 100 years. This is the greatest nation on the planet. There is no question.